Hi, this is Becca, and I'm going to show you how quickly you can get started with using Cortex. We're going to walk through setting up a couple integrations and start importing some data. So as you can see here, we have a brand new instance of Cortex. We don't have anything in our catalog, and we also don't have any of our integrations set up here. So what we'll do is start setting up some of these integrations and importing data. So as you can tell, we have over 50 out-of-the-box integrations. Most customers will start with a Git provider, a cloud provider, an identity provider, and then maybe some other tools like APM or issue tracking. So in order to get started, I'm going to start with a GitHub integration. And there's a couple ways in which you can set up GitHub. You can either install the GitHub the Cortex app in GitHub. So this is pre-configured with permissions that you need to use the various pieces of Cortex. You also have the option to build your own custom GitHub app and set the permissions that you would like, or use a personal access token as well. For this, I'm going to install the GitHub app, the Cortex app in GitHub. And so when I click configure here, I'll sign in and it'll ask me where I want to install the app. And then it'll ask me whether I want to give it access to all the repositories or provide only a select list. I'm going to give it access to all. And this will get installed in my Cortex environment, and we can test the integration here to see that the configuration is valid. The next integration that I'm going to set up is going to be our OpenID connector. So this is utilized for SSO. In this case, we've got some that are pre-configured out of the box, or you could use something like JumpCloud or another OIDC provider. Any OIDC provider can be used. You would just add that as a new provider here. So some information that I'm going to input here for Okta. So I've got my identifier, my secret, and then my issuer URL. So I can see that that was saved successfully. The other integration, so you can set up an identity provider for SSO. You can also set up an identity provider to import teams. So that is a different integration. Here I'm going to set up Okta so that I can import some team structures. So here I'll add the configuration. So I have my domain here. And I've got my token. And then you can select the group types. I can test the configuration and see that the configuration is valid. The other integrations I'm going to set up, as I mentioned, are like a cloud provider and then some other tools like APM or issue tracking. Here I'll configure AWS as my cloud provider. So when you add a configuration for AWS, there are some instructions here. You have to create a policy and a role. I've pre-configured these just for time purposes here. So I'll enter in my account ID and the role that I created and add this. I can test my integration and see that this is valid. Now there's a second step here for adding specific control types that you want to be able to import. So here I've got a list of all the available control types. I've already selected ECS and S3, so I can save those. And those will then be available for me to import when we start importing data. The last integration that I'm going to set up is going to be Jira. So here I can install the Jira integration. So when I add the configuration, we support integrations with Jira on-prem as well as Jira Cloud. In this instance, I'm going to use Jira Cloud. And we support multiple accounts for Jira. So if you have multiple accounts, you can get those set up. And each account is going to require an alias. So I'll just use this as an example here. I'm going to get my domain name or my subdomain and use the base URL, which in this case is Atlassian.net. The email address that was associated with the token that I set up, and then the actual API token that was generated. Awesome. I can test this configuration and see that this is valid. So now that I've got all of the integrations set up, I'll go into my catalog, and here I can see all entities. So we don't have any entities set up. I can go through the process of importing entities, and this will allow you to either create entities manually or import discovered entities via the integrations that we've set up. So in this case, I'm going to import some or a repository from GitHub. So in this case, I'll do my test service. So these are discovered entities that came from that integration. And here you'll see this will be added as a entity type of service. We've got an entity name. We'll call this, enter in a description. You can use groupings here, or what are kind of used as tags if you wanted to group together various entities. And then we've got links to the repository. Here I can add owners. We don't have teams imported yet, so I'll come back and do that. And then links to documentation can be added as well. So I'm going to import this into the catalog. And then I can see this test service. So it's going to automatically link me to my repository, pull in the language type, and then show me recent events from that repository as well. Awesome. So here we've got our entity that we just imported. The other types of entities that we'll want to import will be team structures. So that will be important for ownership. So here I'll import a team from Okta. So I've got my team structure for my engineering team. I've got a couple of members in here. So again, similar setup. You can add a description, add groupings. You can add members, but these will also be imported from the members inside of Okta. And then as you have hierarchy structures, that will be imported as well, but you can define that manually within the UI. And then we've got our engineering team associated here, and I've got my team members that pulled in from Okta. So what I want to do is go back into the catalog. I can go into my test service. If I go to configure entity, I can then add my team as the owner of this particular entity. Awesome. So we now have owners for this associated entity. Where else I might want to import entities from is from AWS. So in this case, I can discover my S3 buckets and other entities that I had associated. So in this case, I might import this config bucket. It's going to have a schema and details on this particular entity. Again, I can add owners here for the engineering team. and confirm import into my catalog. So now I can see I've got my 3 entities that I just created. Now, the other integration that we had set up is Jira. So one of the nice things about the integrations with Cortex is we'll do some automated mapping. So under each entity is going to have a YAML, and in the YAML, we're going to have an Cortex tag. So if your Cortex tag matches labels or components in other tools such as Jira or AWS, we're going to automatically map that data together. So we set up the Jira integration, and I should have some tags available or tags associated to tickets inside of Jira. And we can see that those automatically pulled in from Jira without actually having to map the data. So there is some automated matching that is available. If you don't have the label for the Cortex tag that you see here, then you can manually map the data through the entity YAML. So that's really how easy it is to get set up with Cortex and some of the integrations. If you have any further questions, please reach out to us.